Welcome everyone. This is the How They Did It graduate interview series for my Thriving Studio Owner program graduates. And I'm so excited about this graduate interview today with Miss Lydia Lozano, who is the studio owner and teacher and therapist on staff at her studio, Om Joyful Yoga. And Lydia, can you just say hi to everybody and tell us a little bit about your studio?
Yes, hi everyone. Thank you, Kiki, for having me. It's my pleasure. So our studio is based in South Florida, in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and it's a little different than just a general yoga studio, what we may think of just group classes and such. We really do incorporate yoga psychology into our program. Have a lot of yoga therapy private sessions that do bring in-depth psychology combined with ancient wisdom and yogic philosophies, and the medicine is great, and we're able to really get into the transformative state at all levels with our students, and we tap into a little bit of that in the group classes as well. We try to. So, just giving everyone a little wisdom. Yes.
Yeah,
so
that's awesome. That's so, I mean, you have such a special offering. Yeah. So for those of you, anybody who doesn't know me, my name is Kiki Lovelace, and I'm also a studio owner. I own Interstellar Pilates and Yoga here in Berkeley. I'm sitting in my office right now and in California. And I'm also the founder and business growth mentor at the Thriving Studio Owner program, which Lydia has just completed. And so this is a series where I get to interview my amazing sparkly graduates. They're so awesome, and just have them tell you a little bit of their story of like how they came to recognize they needed some business mentorship and some coaching, and then the process that Lydia has just completed through these last 12 weeks. And actually before that, because Lydia took one of my other courses even before she enrolled in the 12 weeks. So yeah, this is going to be such a fun interview. So Lydia, why don't you I know you bought your studio like several years ago from another owner, and I know that it was kind of a process for you of like discovering like, maybe I need some help in growing my studio and taking it to the next level. So can you tell my people like, as of like, I don't know, 5 months ago or so, before you and I started working together, like what were you thinking? What was going on in your life and your body and your finances? Anything you want to share and just give us a snapshot of your business at that time?
Sure. Yeah. So we purchased a business a couple years ago, and really just tried to maintain the community and the student base, and very respectfully had a very smooth transition at that time. Started to weave in some of the yoga psychology principles and really coming into that space. And, but I found myself working a lot, or working all the time, I should say. So my nervous system was taking a hit. And then it was the family time being sacrificed. And so amazingly enough, January and February of this year, 2020, it started coming around where I started seeing a little bit of more of an increase in the profit, but I was generating way too much energy. Like I was overwhelmed. COVID hits March. Okay. And now I'm like, great. This is like, let's pivot everything to online. Let's just try to maneuver through this change. And you actually offered the marketing intensive, the 2-week intensive. And I just thought it spoke directly to me. I could do this. I can hop on there for 2 weeks. I can learn some business strategies, some marketing. I didn't know what I was doing coming online. We'd never done it before. And let me tell you, those 2 weeks were amazing. And I started incorporating some of those strategies right away. And I saw a return. Specifically an intensive workshop that I was working on. And once we marketed it in the right way, I saw a lot of gains. And so
I just love that. Can I just pause you on that for a second? Because because like, that's actually really big, because, I mean, there's two things I want to like elevate there. Is like, one is that, and I know that pretty much everyone in our like small business owner industry, like Pilates, yoga, fitness business owners, like, it's very rare that any of us know what we're doing with marketing, and like market, you know, that we come into being a business owner with like any kind of confidence around that. Even my people who like have a corporate marketing background and then they become studio owners have no idea what they're doing when it comes to marketing, you know, a workshop on, I don't know what you guys were doing that day, but probably something magical and like spiritual and weird. And so I just love that like you just dove into that like 2 or 3 week course and just really started to like do the daily social media posts, just like putting it out there in in this very specific way with the messaging techniques that I teach all my mentees. And like, even in that one workshop, you felt like, okay, I see how this could work. And so the thing I want to ask you about, Lydia, is like, I know at that moment in time, you had shared with me, you shared this with me in the past, that like your view of yourself as a business owner started to shift. Like you started to take yourself a little more seriously. So can you give us a window into like what rearranged in you during that time? Because that was in April.
Yes. So I remember in one of the live coaching calls that we had, specifically, you were taking the stigma, releasing the stigma, the energetic stigma around, you know, business being yucky, salesy, things of that nature, things that never spoke about before, and just sort of in our subconscious. And another thing that stuck out was never thinking that I'd never taken a business anything in my life, but here I am running my own business. How does that even make sense? So beginning to look at the marketing and just the business end of what we do from a more spiritual perspective, and just looking at it like for the greater good in service, but also valuing your education, your experience, your wisdom, and really all of the energy that we put out and we put forth for our students, our clients, and our patients. It's super important to really value that and look at it as more through a positive lens and a lens of self-growth. And if we grow, so do our students and our clients. If we don't grow, we can't. How are we supposed to sort of share that wisdom forward and allow them to transform if we're kind of stuck?
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like this is something I work with all of my people. I'm so glad that you like absorbed it, is like, you know, when we're working on calling in more money, and, you know, we have some specific like projects, like in the Thriving Studio Owner program, we do like a cash infusion technique and like a pricing menu redo. And like, we do some like hands-on, like, you know, like a new budgeting and cash management tool. So like there's some hands-on like strategy things, but always it unearths these pieces about our own value. And like that, I love how you hooked into like, oh, it's like, this is about me valuing my own life force, my own time, which is so precious, and like being compensated appropriately. That's like one piece. And then this other piece I love that you brought up is like becoming a more confident, skillful business owner is actually an act of service. Like it is an act of devotion. It's not comfortable work for many of us yogis and Pilates people. It's uncomfortable, but it's very much in service to the greater good, like literally to the greater good of our entire planet and all the people living in it. And so it's an act of devotion and service to actually become a kick-ass business owner, you know?
Right. Yes. Yes. It's true.
It's
100%.
So cool. Yeah. So, you know, so you got it. So right away after that marketing course, I mean, you had seen already like just a little taste of the results that were possible. You came right into the 12-week program, which was so exciting. I was so glad to be able to work with you in a deeper way. And it, like, life happened during those 12 weeks for you. And I know like part of it was that you actually had an influx of like private clients. So like you got actually really busy, even more, you're already so busy, but you got like really busy during that time, which was good. Like it was good to have more clients and more students coming through, but just like a lot of things just happened. And so I know like many of my mentees, you weren't able to complete the modules and like do things as perfectly as you thought you were going to when you came. I mean, it's just like life happened. Yeah. So talk to us about like how that felt and like how you talked yourself through that challenge.
Sure. So I was in the middle of the course, and I realized that, well, I either can go through the modules or continue booking privates back to back to back to back, because that's what was happening. Not to mention a lot of personal stuff was coming up as well, because we're doing that work and everything that's going on globally. And there's a lot of personal things that were coming up at the same time. And so I started to really think about where I was at in the course versus where I should be at, or where should I be now? Well, we're in week, whatever it is, 10, but I'm still in week like 6, and the module, no, stop, implement the strategies I had learned up until that moment, and really begin sitting and meditating and aligning, with spirit, and just trying to get my confirmation as to where I needed to be and what I needed to implement. So if it's not a hell yes, it's a no, that kind of a thing, right? So now I just knew all of a sudden I knew exactly what I needed to do. And I just had to take a step back and just say, okay, yeah, forgive you for not being perfect and doing everything on a timely fashion, because my energy just couldn't sustain it anymore. And I also started to, one of the big changes I made was 20 to 30 minute breaks in between my privates, which I wasn't offering myself at all. I also cut back on some of the side jobs that I was doing, independently contracting for. And although we need the finances right now, it was sucking me dry for my energy. So I did that. And then I did a block of time, half a day to a full day once a week, where I could just relax as per your advice and your guidance. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you need to go to the beach, Lydia.
Yes. And you saw those beach photos. Yeah. You did.
I love that. I feel like part of why your story is so powerful is that you actually got crazy, amazing results, even though you weren't able to be perfect and do everything perfectly, and I just think that's such a powerful lesson. And that you were able to recognize in yourself, oh, I'm giving myself a hard time. And you kind of went into a surrender. It's let me just accept that this is where I am, and let me focus on what I can do, because I actually have a lot of new tools. Let me put them into play. And then here you are, you have you're starting to carve out Lydia time, guilt-free Lydia time, more family time, or just a little, and you called it, we call it sometimes nervous system freedom. It's just not feeling so guilty and anxious all the time. And then also I want to share that like on our last call, which was a few weeks ago, you had shared with me that you had already paid your September rent and your payroll, and you like looked in your business bank account and you're like, wait, why is all that money there? Like, what is that? You know, how did that feel for you when you just were like, wow, there's an accumulation happening?
No, that felt absolutely awesome. And it's the first time it had happened since, COVID. So I feel that it was completely tied into that shift in mindset and that energetic shift, and allowing it's more like, okay, well, instead of fitting 8 privates in one day without a break and you coming up for any air, right? It's like, let's fit in 6 or 5 and give yourself some space. And and it all comes back in a positive fashion when you're giving from that place, rather than from a depleted, exhausted sort of energy. We can't really pull it forward that way. It's not fair to us or to our clients or our students.
Yeah, and it's so like courageous and bold and almost like illogical to do that, like especially when money is tight and right. Like we're all in COVID, and like you were able to reopen, but like it was crickets at first, like people just like kind of coming in every, it's just, it's, and many of us have a ton of restrictions on how many per head, how many people we can have and everything. So I love that like you made this like very illogical choice to like create these 20-minute breaks and take some time off. And like, and yet there you are with like proof in the pudding, like you pay those bills and there's like still this big cash cushion, which is just so amazing to have that show up in exchange for feeling like you're really getting a handle on time freedom, on like create, you're really starting to grow that muscle, work that muscle.
Right. Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, so it was awesome.
Super. So like for any of my people who are watching this, they may be thinking about working with me, and, just like you, I'm sure they have fears and reservations and like some blockages around like what it is to make an investment in a business coach, and really making an investment in their own growth and in their own belief in themselves and in their mission, their ability to do magical things. So like, what would you say to those people that, because I know you relate, like you were sitting there 5 months ago, like what would you say to them about taking that leap of faith?
Yeah, so I would say that really looking at it from a place of self-love and always growing and evolving, and really taking that stance that I'm going to make myself a priority, my business a priority, my time, my nervous system, resets, everything a priority. And I'm going to have guidance, and I'm going to have someone who can pull me up, because we're constantly the ones lifting others up. If we don't have someone to lift us up, then we're not on level playing field here. And the fear that comes up is the fear of, I'm investing so much money, there's not enough money now, this is not the good time, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Again, once we start to implement all of the strategies and our mindset begins to shift, it doesn't matter if we're in the middle of a pandemic or we're not, but we have good, excellent, solid guidance and coaching and mentorship that is going to help us up level and move into the next phase. Otherwise, again, we tend to be in that fearful, stuck energy. And nothing grows from that energy. Nothing grows from that energy. It
just stays stagnant. We stay stuck, like what you were just saying. Yeah.
We just stay stuck. Yes. And we see it a lot in the local businesses. Unfortunately, there's a lot of businesses that have closed down nearby, a lot of yoga studios and things like that. But it's about making the choice. I'm here. I am here, and I am here. And the universe, hears you.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to help you out because you are helping yourself and you are putting in the work. And it's and the only way that comes forth is from that place of love, inner love, that you want to grow. You want to be there for your loved ones, and you want to enjoy your time when you do have time off, guilt-free. So the investment, guilt-free. So the investment is totally worth it. 100%, 100% and more.
Right.
And but it is a leap of faith, right? But it's a matter of, okay, are we making that choice then based out of fear or out of self-love? Let's see. Okay, well, we always have choices in life.
And self-trust too. It's like trusting that your intuition is guiding you in a certain direction, trusting that you can do it, like that you're able. My daughter has been learning in virtual first grade about a growth mindset, which is about learning how that what you know now, you're capable of learning something new. It's not a fixed thing. It's like you're capable of growth. And so that in and of itself just requires a lot of self-respect, self-trust. And I was thinking about and I don't know if this is true for you, but I think a lot of people struggle with calling in a mentor or coach because we're ashamed. We're ashamed of our weirdness around money or how little money we have, or we're ashamed of that we're not perfect and that we are kind of flying by the seat of our pants running a business. And I know for me, like every time I go into relationship, maybe not every time now, but like when I was younger and not used to this process, I would always have these like layers of fear and shame even when I knew like this is what I want to do, it would just come up, and I think that's really common for all of us and for our students too, for our students and clients. They probably have those fears and shames just like we do, when they enter into relationship with us.
Absolutely. Yes. It's worth it. It's worth it.
It's worth it. It's totally worth it.
I know. So worth it. Yes.
I know. Yes. And we were just talking about this earlier, is like our people and our planet need our work. They need our medicines. Like we all recognize that we want to create a different kind of earth, a different kind of society. And to me, you know, I always tell you guys this, I always feel like the yoga studio is the gateway drug. It's like the community gateway drug to like the art of transformation. It's like the kind of the easiest step in.
Absolutely.
And then, right?
Absolutely. And then you go
therapy.
from there. And yes, absolutely. 100%. And they need our help more than ever, especially now. It's invaluable, the services that we can provide, you know, medicine we can provide.
Heck yeah. Awesome. So yeah, I know, it's so great. So any of you guys who are watching who are interested in finding out how I might be able to help you, I'm going to put my link to my calendar down below in the comments, and you can go on there, grab a time slot. They're 30 to 40-minute calls. You and I will just pop on a Zoom. We'll talk to each other. We'll get a sense of like if my areas of expertise are your blind spots or your blockages. So if we're well aligned, and if we have like a rapport, like Lydia and I have, like if we have just like an energetic kind of match, you know, and if that's the case, I may invite you to be one of the mentees I take on this month. And Lydia, I would love for you to share with these people how they could get to know your business. How can they follow you? Where can they find more information about Om Joyful?
Sure. So you can find us online, a website, omjoyfulyoga.com. We're also on Facebook and on Instagram. And I am still doing telehealth therapy sessions, yoga therapy sessions. We're also going to maintain the yoga and meditation classes online as well. So you don't have to be local to hop on and partake. And so that's where you can find us.
Super. Thank you, Lydia. Thanks for spending this time with me today. I so appreciate it. And thanks to everybody for watching. Have a great day, everyone.